which Mark Eichhorst has mentioned when he was doing the games with Don that the Raiders tend to be a team that starts a little slow. Second quarter they normally pick it up, and then second half they usually come out in full cylinder. But tonight was kind of the opposite for the Raiders. They started out very fast. They got on the board first. They took the opening kick. Not sure who won the coin toss, but I know I'm guessing Lincoln Way deferred. But the Raiders took the opening kick and returned it 100 yards. Tyrone Galvin returned the opening kick 100 yards for for the Raiders' first touchdown of the game. The extra point was good, 7-0 Racine Raiders. The Raiders then forced the punt by Lincoln Way, something that they didn't do a lot of in the first meeting that they had. But they forced a 3-and-out and a punt by Lincoln Way. And following the punt, the Raiders drove down the field again with pretty much with ease. And the drive ended with J.R. Taylor getting a 2-yard touchdown run to make it 13-0 Raiders. The extra point was good at the 10:04 mark in the first quarter. And then the Patriots' second possession of the game, they had a fumble. Davis forced a Patriot fumble. The Raiders recovered. And then Craig McClelland, he had a 2-yard touchdown run and the extra point good to put the Raiders up 21-0 with 8:11 to go in the first quarter. And the Raiders, like that, were in complete control of the game early on. The Lincoln Way Patriots in the second quarter did turn it up a little bit. Jerome Banks had a 15-yard touchdown run with 6:58 to go in the second quarter to make the extra point good to make it 21-7. The Raiders, with 1:56 to go in the half, Justin Shepke nailed a 31-yard field goal to put the Raiders up 24-7. And then Tony Powell, right before halftime, 14 seconds to go in the half, had a 13-yard touchdown run. The extra point was no good, though, as the snap was bad, to make it 24-13 Racine Raiders going into halftime. The third quarter, the Patriots got the ball to start the third quarter after, I'm assuming they deferred in the opening coin toss. But the Patriots wasted no time at the 9:18 mark in the third quarter. Tony Powell, the conference offensive player of the year, connected on an 18-yard pass to Steve Trudeau, and 2-point was no good to make it 24-19. But the Raiders answered on that. J.R. Taylor busted out a 24-yard touchdown run with 4:49 to go in the third quarter to make it 31-19. The Patriots then scored in the fourth quarter on a 1-yard touchdown run by Jelon Banks at the 7:56 mark to make it 31-26. And then the Raiders, Justin Shepke kicked a 28-yard field goal with 1:35 to go in the game to make it 34-26, and that's how it ended tonight for the game. The Raiders get the 34-26 victory. Pretty long game overall. Fourth quarter with the lights going out at 10 o'clock didn't help, and then Powell's injury. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious. You hate seeing a player, regardless of the team, go down with an injury. Powell is a very gifted quarterback. So you do hate seeing, guys go down like that. But the Raiders were able to end the game on the Patriots' final drive. The final play for the Patriots, an incomplete pass. So a couple, keys to the game that I want to mention. The Raiders started fast. They took the opening kickoff for a touchdown, jumped out to a 21-0 lead. So they started the game quite fast. Lincoln Way was able to close the second quarter strong, and they went on a 13-3 run in the second quarter. The Raiders outscored the Patriots 21-0 in the first quarter. The Patriots outscored the Raiders 13-3 in the second. The Patriots then started the second half strong by taking the opening drive in the second half for a touchdown, but the Raiders fought them off, and they ended up surviving for the victory. So the Raiders, they won the game. They forced turnovers. They got J.R. Taylor going. On the meeting on July 25th, J.R. Taylor finished with 8 yards on 6 carries, and the Raiders overall as a team had 31 yards on the ground. Today's game, J.R. Taylor had 115 yards on the ground, and the Raiders ran for 154 yards on the ground. So the Raiders much better at running the football. They ended the game with 32 attempts for 154 yards. So that was huge right there. And then as I was talking to Tom, the old faces stepping up for the Raiders. Sam D'Elia had a big game, had some big catches in the game to help with the Raider victory. J.R. Taylor I mentioned his game, and Craig McClelland, who was picked off 3 times in the July 25th matchup, did not throw an interception, much more efficient with the football, and didn't have any turnovers. He did get sacked once, though. And the Raiders were taking chances. They had a fake punt. Aaron Hilliard had a fake punt that they may have been stopped short on, but the Patriots did commit a penalty to add 15 yards to the run. That's the 4th fake punt the Raiders have ran this year, and all 4 have gone for first down. You'd think teams would know to be on the lookout for Aaron keeping the ball on the punt and running for it, because he's done it many times this year. And back in July, when these two teams met, Lexus Jackson, he took a screen pass, I believe the first or second Patriot score, took a screen pass for a touchdown. That was something the Raiders had to limit. They had to limit the big play ability by Jackson. Now, he did finish with 119 yards, had a long of 57, but they kept him out of the end zone. And the Patriots tried the screen pass late in the game, and they made a big play on the play. They made a big play on it. They stuffed it out, and they didn't let Jackson make a big play on it. And that was key right there. And the Patriots today, they just made too many mistakes, too many stupid penalties, turned the ball over, just played sloppy all around. And the Raiders took advantage of that, and like I said, they just took advantage of that. Now, I do want to get your take, get your thought. 262-634-WRJN, that's 634-9756. Give us a call and give us your thoughts on this Raider victory. The Racine Raiders 34-26 victory down in Loves Park, Illinois. The fourth quarter that didn't seem like it was going to end after the lights went out in the fourth quarter with about 30 seconds to go, and added about a 10-15 minute wait between that and then the injury to Powell as well. You'd think the facility director for the complex they were playing in Loves Park would have taken into consideration when this game was put on the schedule for his facility that they might want to maybe change the timer. You have a game scheduled, a 7 o'clock kickoff. It's a football game. It's probably going to go past 10 o'clock. So you might want to fix the timer and maybe make it a 11 o'clock timer. Or you're going to have, Don mentioned something about fireworks during the broadcast. Maybe, turn the timer off completely. That would have probably made a little bit more sense to me. But we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, going to give my play of the game, and go over the stats for the Raiders and the Patriots. So you're listening to the fifth quarter here on your radio friend, AM 1400 WRJN. The fifth quarter is post-game show for the Racine Raiders, which is brought to you by Lynn Sicko and Racine and Prosper's Premium RV Outlet out in Sturdivant. We will be back in a couple of minutes. And welcome back to the fifth quarter here on your radio friend, AM 1400 WRJN, the fifth quarter post-game show for your hometown football team, the Racine Raiders. The post-game show brought to you by Lynn Sicko in Racine on Lathrop Avenue and Prosper's Premium RV Outlet. We are talking about the Raiders' 34-26 victory over Lincoln Way. And on the phone, we have the voice of your hometown football team, Don Wadowitz. How are you doing tonight, Don?
I'm doing all right, Evan, and exciting game, and it was trying conditions for us up in the press box tonight. No yard markings, no hash marks, nothing to help us out up there tonight. So it made things trying here.
Made things trying, but being the awesome broadcaster that you are, you did a great job considering the circumstances.
Well, thanks a
lot. You're very welcome. Now the game, I did ask Tom, mention this to Tom. Now when Mark was doing the games with you, Mark Eichhorst, Mr. Racine, he had talked about the slow starts that the Raiders tend to have, and tonight it was kind of the opposite. They had a fast start right out of the gate. How important was this quick start against the Patriots, who are normally a pretty fast-striking offense?
I mean, the fact of the matter that this game came down to 8 points says all that you need to know about the fast start. And, I was talking to the MSFL commissioner, Dan Green, both on the air during that injury break and off the air. And, he talked about that 100-yard return to start off the game by Tyrone Galvin and how three-quarters of the fans here were Racine fans tonight. The far side bleachers were completely packed. That's why we had a couple of those little skirmishes kind of boil over, because at least half the bleachers on the home side were Racine fans. And that just, got this crowd going. And the fact that Lincoln Way even got back to the point that they were within 5 with the number of penalties they had and just how everything was going the Raiders' way through that first quarter is a testament to this Lincoln Way team being led by Tony Powell, that, they felt they could come back from anything.
Yeah, and I had mentioned when I was talking to Tom, you mentioned Tyrone Galvin. Very hard to come up with a words to describe his playmaking ability. Very fast, quite the playmaker. He's you got to like I said, I can't really describe in words just the impact that he has with this team and in the game.
He reminds me of Dave Meggett, because Dave Meggett was fast and he was kind of a smaller guy, but he didn't go down with the first hit usually either. And that's kind of who Tyrone Galvin reminds me of, because he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's really fast. He can cut on a dime, but he can also get through tackles. The first guy oftentimes doesn't bring him down, and that's why he's so effective on special teams, is he can make people miss. So even if he's one-on-one with someone, he has that escapability factor where he can get out of it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a good comparison there, Dave Meggett. That's very, very good comparison. And, that's, I guess, be a good way to describe him. The last time these teams met, J.R. Taylor, 6 carries, 8 yards. Craig had 2 interceptions, and he had 35 attempts in the game. The Raiders only ran for 31 yards on 23 carries. And it looked like the offense had quite the difficult time moving the ball. Today, Taylor had 115 yards. The Raiders ran the ball for 32 times. Craig didn't have any interceptions and only threw the ball 23 times. Is there anything that the Raiders did differently on offense tonight that were able to get them to, able to run the ball better tonight? Like, what is your take on that?
Well, in the first game, I don't know if fans know, J.R. Taylor, I don't think he got there till late in the midway through the third quarter. He had some personal things going on, some family things going on, and so he wasn't able to actually make that game until later in the game. I believe it was mid-third quarter. So, Taylor's the type of guy that the more you hand him the rock, the better he gets, just because he punishes defenses so well. And you didn't have that opportunity. So you're bringing a guy in now, and you're trying to get cohesive on offense when he's stepping into the game in the middle of the third quarter. And I think that was a little rough for the Raiders, too. And just, the speedier guys like Galvin and Lashley weren't able to get the ball moving much running it. And so I think we had to rely on Craig a lot more. And I think that Lincoln Way saw that and were able to defend against that a little better the first time around, as opposed to this time where they didn't know what was coming. And quite honestly, J.R. Taylor, he has a renewed vigor right now. This is his last few games, depending what happens, and he's coming in with a very determined mindset, and that should be a scary thing for opposing defenses.
Yeah, it should definitely be a scary thing. I definitely wouldn't like having to tackle, a guy like JR. And other than, JR